Hello, everybody. So, Friday philosophy is turning into Saturday philosophy at the moment because weekdays, COVID. I've got kids at home and had a few Zoom calls and things yesterday, and it's been a challenging time, let's say, to transition from again from our lives from pre-lockdown to where we are now. So hi, if you're joining live, I'm just going to drop in to talk about the fifth limb of yoga in the fourth limb of yoga. No, we're up to fourth limb of yoga in this philosophy series. So I am talking about pranayama today. And pranayama is, as I said, is the fourth limb of yoga in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. So the last few weeks I've been talking about the first three limbs of yama, niyama, and asana. And today I'm going to talk about pranayama. And it's going to be very, very surface level because really, there is so much to say about pranayama. As I said last week, asana, Patanjali only has a very short section on asana, and really asana is huge, but it is in Patanjali's sutra seen as a precursor to the other practices. Pranayama is huger than asana. Patanjali would say that we should only practice pranayama once we've perfected asana. Generally, the traditions that I have trained in are a little more flexible around that. So there are some very safe pranayama practices that anybody can do and really benefit from. So it seems a little bit exclusive to say that you can only do pranayama if you have already perfected asana. So hello, if you're joining live, I'm about to talk a little bit about the fourth limb of yoga of pranayama. Normally I do this on a Friday, but today I'm here this morning. So pranayama is the control or expansion of our life force. So if we see the word prana as being life force, and it can be equated to other words such as chi or ki in different traditions, and prana is also very much equated with the word breath as well. It's really interesting. The word breath in Latin is also pneuma, which means spirit. So prana, you could even also say, is like spirit. It's the life force. It's beautiful, beautiful thing. And through doing pranayama, we control our breath, and by doing so, we control our life force, or we control our energy. So the pranayama techniques that are outlined in yoga usually involve controlling in some way the inhalation, the exhalation, and the retention of breath. So the breath is split up into four parts: the inhalation, the retention, the exhalation, and then the retention. And there are many, many different ways of doing that, and some are very sort of simple, but very effective too, and very safe for anybody to do, such as learning the yogic breath, where we really try to expand capacity of our body to breathe, and we breathe into the belly, the chest, and the upper chest. And also, something like a nadi shodhana, which is the alternate nostril breathing, where we're bringing balance to the nadis, which are the energy channels in the body. And this is where prana is said to flow. You might like to think of them as kind of riverbeds in our body, and there are thousands and thousands of them around the body, but we have these sort of main three up and down the spine, up the center of the spine, the shushumna, and then the ida and pingala that crisscross across the spine. And when we practice pranayama, particularly in something like nadi shodhana, we're really bringing balance to the left and right sides, the ida and the pingala. So, as I said, there is so much that we could talk about with pranayama, but I just want to give a taster in these little philosophy workshops, so that if you perhaps have only practiced one aspect of yoga, maybe only meditation or maybe only asana, then perhaps you can start to interweave different things together. So pranayama, that why would we do it? And you know, pranayama. So even just at the very simplest and basic level, pranayama helps us to breathe better, which is going to help our energy levels. The breath and a good natural full breath that is that's not restricted in any way, let's say, is going to have a huge impact on your overall well-being. So the diaphragm that sits at the bottom of our lower ribs, when we use the full capacity of our breath, the diaphragm draws down and the belly expands, and then it goes back up again as we breathe out. And often we'll find that many people, due to posture or due to overall stress in their lives, tend to breathe very much up in their chest. So hi there. If you're joining, drop me any questions at any time if you want to, talking about breath and the importance of pranayama in yoga, and even just very simple pranayama such as yogic breath. So when we breathe in that way, we're helping to not only tone our nervous system and to tone particularly the parasympathetic nervous system, which turns on our relaxation response, but we're also helping to relax as well some of the muscles around the psoas and the nerves in that space, which are also very, very related to our overall stress levels. And you know, we could go into so much detail about the impact of stress on the body and that fight or flight response, and continually being in that response, whether we realize it or not, just because of the way we're breathing and holding ourselves. But generally, you know, that's going to help us with our immune system, with our digestion, with our fertility, with our overall health and well-being. So breath is super important. And even very, very simple breath practices, such as Viloma and 3-part breath and Nadi Shodhana, are super easy to do and safe for everybody. And then as we get into doing more stronger practices, we can play around with really forcefully inhaling and bringing more oxygen into the body. So we're oxygenating the body more and heating the body up. So we've got some very heating breath practices we can do. And we start to use things like bandhas, which I won't talk about too much now, but that's locks in the body where we start to then create a container for that energy, for that prana. And then we can also, and this is super beneficial, is really start to focus on elongating our exhalation, and that is going to bring benefits as well through toning that parasympathetic nervous system and also cooling the body. So we can use breath to invigorate us in the morning, to cool us down and bring us into a sense of peace and ease at nighttime to go to sleep. We can also prepare for meditation with breath. So it is such an important part of yoga. So not just our Ujjayi breath that you might practice in a vinyasa class, but really exploring. I really invite you to explore lots of different breath practices. And particularly at this time, I'll just say that you know, at the moment we have, and it's just the symbolism, I think, of this year of 2020 is calling us to breathe more. That we've had the bushfires at the start of the year, you know, the earth's lungs, the trees calling out, you know, for us to really look at how we're living. And hey, Tanya, so that the symbolism of that, and also this pandemic and the fact that, you know, COVID really affects your lungs and affects the respiratory system. So we need more than ever to help to really be healthy in that space and have a healthy immune system, and to be able to neutralize those stress responses that we are all going through at this time. It's just, you know, so uncertain. And also, and you know, this is maybe a long bow, but for me, the symbolism of it is huge, that we have this also anti-racism movement, which the line, I can't breathe. And actually the leaning into discomfort and the leaning into this this work that we have to do in the world, and as yogis we're part of that. We really need to be doing that work as yogis, and if you've watched my videos on the yamas and niyamas, you'll know why, because those values underpin the philosophy of yoga. And so to lean in, we really need to breathe. We need to breathe. We need to be able to access a sense of peace and a sense of ease in our bodies. So the breath, pranayama, is one of my favorite parts of yoga to teach, and it's integral in the classes that I teach. And I really invite you to practice breath. We will at Bright Yoga Space be offering a few breath practices and shorter practices over the next little while, particularly over lockdown. But one of our teachers that we're both training with, Uma Spender, you can find her on Uma Spender Yoga, and she is offering a free foundations breath course next week. It starts on Monday morning, and every morning at 6 a.m. She's absolutely amazing. She's a wonderful, wonderful teacher. I've done a lot of her breath courses, and if you are interested and if you want to do that course, I highly recommend it. She's giving it away for free because she, as I do, feels that everybody needs these practices right now. So you can maybe head over and have a look at that. And yeah, if you have any questions at all about pranayama, I'm here alive. And if you breath is part of your practice, I'd love to hear from you. If you have any particular questions about your own practice or about how you might incorporate some breath into your life, then please drop into the comments and I can answer those live. Or if you're watching in catch up, feel free to comment too, and I can answer those for you. But yeah, I'm not going to do a practice today, but we will do some practices on Instagram Live over the next week. This is really my little opportunity just to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that I find super interesting and useful for my practice. So I hope all of that made sense. I hope that's interesting to you too. And as I said, I've been working through the 8 limbs of yoga, Patanjali's 8 limbs, because it's a really accessible philosophy to work through. Some yogic philosophy is pretty deep and out there. So Patanjali's got this really great framework for how you can really incorporate yoga into your life. So next week I'm going to be talking about pratyahara. Pratyahara is the withdrawal of the senses, the turning in that we do. So looking forward to talking to you about that. Thank you for joining, and if you missed anything, you can catch it on our profile. Bye everybody.